Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a video today. It's kind of a follow up to my one last night. Um, so I just read an article. I don't know if it was on CNN that someone posted regarding. Well, I don't really care at this point. I'll say it. Immunity passes. This is something that the conspiracy subculture was heralding as probably happening. So just to give an example, they had said that we won't be able to go anywhere. You know, some people are saying grocery stores without showing proof of vaccination, um, or proof of that you've had a virus test before you can go. Um, well, first of all, the CNN article was just talking about a few airlines, and then there was really nobody else they heard from, which I see as a positive sign because I know that Ticketmaster got into a lot of trouble this last couple months with their announcement that they would possibly use some of this technology these tech companies are coming up with. Um, Now Ticketmaster and these the actual CNN article mentioned like, oh, could you require this to go into a concert, blah blah blah. But the actual article just was about these tech companies working with these airlines. That doesn't mean shit, of course. Now, my take on this whole conspiracy thing, it's basically what they're saying is that you'll be tracked and traced everywhere you go, which you already are with a phone. But one extra step of all these companies trying to make money off of this, and the World Economic Forum was involved with all these ventures too, which obviously feeds into the conspiracy culture about the Great Reset and everything. So do I think that this whole thing is going to be a nightmarish dystopian scenario? I don't know at this point. It did actually contribute to my horrific mood last night because, for one, I'm going to delay as far as right now. It's more about delaying, as long as possible getting a vaccine. I'm just checking the time because I'm on my lunch break. So I find it really problematic for our economy to have to implement all these measures, especially let's say that the virus is pretty much dissipated in the United States or around the world after people maybe people are like more maybe people get it and they think it's a minor cold, they don't get tested or they don't have the symptoms at all. Case totals are just so low that it's just ridiculous to implement some of this stuff, which may happen because other viruses have followed that same trajectory. I was talking to someone about this, and they think a lot of this stuff won't happen because it's just being talked about now. If things are going, if things go the way that they are, but if they're, which they, some places are already going down again, the second wave or whatever, it won't be like that. So I don't know what to say about that, but the implications are pretty bad for, a company to have to implement some of these things when they're already suffering enough from this whole thing. So I mean, unless there's government help with regards to this, then they're not going to be able to do this. I mean, and it just brings me to you think about all these things. You don't have to go to a concert to say you've had a tuberculosis shot or a measles shot. I mean, you don't have to show something that says that. You don't have to show that you had the flu, even during the bad flu years, or you don't have the flu. All these measures are just, and all these people trying to make money. These tech companies about these apps and stuff that they're coming up with. And I got this iPhone app thing. They tried to get me to download. I'm like, oh, you could find out who has the virus around you. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. I mean, I don't know what I think. I got really depressed over it last night. Over the other news too about the certain person that changed his tune on how many people needed to get vaccinated, and then on CNN he was saying something similar to what he was saying before. So he further contradicted himself from the New York Times article that was out. So it's really confusing. I think my hope is that common sense will prevail and we won't have some type of dystopian papers please kind of society. If you know what I'm referring to, it's this video game that you have to have your papers to go anywhere outside. It's like this totalitarian, authoritarian country that it's a video game. I should actually download that. It's probably like $3.99 on Good Old Games or something now. Anyways, so yeah, I don't support this totalitarian dystopian bullshit. I think if we have a vaccine that's already having herd immunity, in the next 6 months or whatever, why would we have to take these extra measures? It doesn't make any sense. Especially consider this. So let's say a lot of places require you have to have the vaccine, and then there's a delay in, like, if it is endemic, like it's the flu vaccine. Oh, we had to delay several weeks because we had this different thing with the new virus or a strain of the year, so we have to like wait a week. What if a person has a business trip? What if a person, a lot of things? What if a band has to tour? It's just getting this type of micromanaging in our society just for these tech billionaires to make money, or whoever the fuck is behind all this, whatever this whole thing's about. It just seems to me very impractical is the word I would use. So do I think people are going to follow it? Do I think I'm going to have to show a vaccine ID everywhere I go? I don't know. I mean, they want to do it, but I don't have to do it right now. Why would I have to do it? Why would they? It just doesn't make sense. It's antithetical to the idea that we're going to be doing this mass vaccination and get back to normal to have extra measures even after that. It doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, it makes sense to these fucking plutocrats and autocrats and tech, predatory capitalist tech, billionaire people. Obviously, it makes sense to them to try this venture, but I don't think it's gonna. I hope it fails. I mean, I hope enough people. There's an outcry, like with Ticketmaster had to back down, and that was a big deal, So at this point, I could see them as far as what a sure thing is I could see airlines implementing this thing, but I don't know if I don't know if it's gonna get to a level where you have to go to, if you go to a grocery store, you said you have to have a vaccine, or even a concert necessarily, depending on the region. Now, fucking San Francisco or New York City, maybe you'll have to like show this vaccine pass, and Garcetti and whoever, wait, that's LA, but these fucking autocratic Democrat politicians might want this shit, even though they violate all their stuff themselves, and they have been. But those are my thoughts on it. This is something I do resist and I don't think should be implemented, especially if the numbers don't match. And I mean that, like, if this thing's essentially vanquished by summer, which, now they're saying it may not, but who knows with all the tests being faulty, and, if the thing's essentially vanquished or seasonal, this is just a very impractical, either way, it's an impractical way of doing things. Because, like, and then you'd have to, like, get your ID fucking renewed. You'd have to have this. It's just a clusterfuck. So I think for the impracticality alone, we can go to the conspiracy level and say the Great Reset and nanobots and all this crazy shit. But even barring that, just on a practicality level, it's stupid. That's all.